Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Episode 21,762.
Something like
Yeah, you
that.
slackers need to start picking up the likes and the followings.
All right, so we're going to talk about fucking politics, yeah? Because we are all goddamn experts on politics. I am a fucking political expert, and I'm just like every other son of a bitch on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. You need to listen to every fucking thing I say because I know, goddamn it.
That's where I get my news
If
from.
you don't listen, I will just talk louder.
Loud noises.
Loud noises. That's the fucking MO though, isn't it? That's like the whole fucking thing. Like you can't. Some bitch popped off at me on fucking Twitter. I told you about that tweet I did. I told you about that tweet that we did. Because we told this girl. I said, they were talking about the whole fucking abortion thing, and I was like, listen. Have you ever witnessed this is not verbatim, but this is pretty much what I said. I told Dale this yesterday. I said, have you ever witnessed an abortion? And I'm not talking about like 2 days after you had sex. I'm talking about like when it's already forming. When they reach in with a set of forceps, right? And they start trying to pull it out because you can't suck it up now. It's already got hard material in it. You can't suck it through a catheter at this point. So they got to get it out. And the way they pull it out is they reach in and they start feeling around blindly, grabbing at something until they get a hold of something, and then they pull. And they pull it out in pieces. And what they can't get out, then they start suctioning with a catheter. But they literally will tell you, some of these doctors will tell you, yeah, they pull out arms and legs and, it comes out in pieces.
Yeah.
How the fuck can any person rationalize that as a birth control method? And that's pretty much what I said. I don't care about your body. I don't care about your fucking choice. I do not care. I don't care if you want to have an abortion a week after you just had sex, whatever. But after you get to the point where you're dismembering a formed being, that just doesn't seem like a viable means of birth control to me. And that's what I said to her. I was like, have you ever, and I posed it in a question for me, like, have you ever watched this? Have you ever read up on this? Like the truth of it. You know what I mean? She said, well, I know she said something about, it's none of your business. You shouldn't be trying to dictate someone's choice or something like that. Or I don't know. It was an insult. It was some little,
the idea that men don't have
smart ass insult. You know what I
mean?
mean? And so I said, and so I responded in kind. I said, here's the thing. I said, I'm asking a question. I'm not insulting you. But true to form, you come back in here and just start insulting me. Instead of answering the question, you drop down to insults. Like, how can you still haven't answered my question? How can you justify that as a viable means of birth control? How many other possible scenarios are there that could take place that do not require that? You could wear a condom. You could do birth control pills. You could practice.
The age of the internet debate.
You could fucking pull out. There's so many other choices out there.
Well, and that's
a morning after pill. I'm not even having a problem with that.
When they go with the whole my body, my choice, it's like, well, you made that choice when you did what you know.
Yeah, you didn't just fall down and someone's dick just fall into.
Yeah. Well, my big
even
thing
worse
with that is what you're taking away. Because I mean, you grew up in foster care, so you could have just as easily have been an abortion. I was adopted. I could have just as easily been that. And so I look at it like, look at what all you've accomplished, your family, and myself. And I'm like, how many of those just opportunities have been just gone, for a choice?
Yeah.
Well,
that's my big issue.
I got two things to say about this. Okay. So the first one is they'll say, my body, my choice. And I'm like, okay, so let's say you decide you're going to have the baby. Are you exonerating the dude from child support for the rest of his life? Okay. You made the choice. You're unilaterally making the choice. So are you exonerating the dude from having to pay child support? Okay. Number two, like John said, at a certain point, there's another body that's inside of you. So it's not your body anymore. I get that being, is needing life support for a certain point. But see, that's the thing. Then there becomes a certain point where the fetus is now viable even without the mom, and they can still perform abortions. And
But
it's like,
again,
well,
how
that's
many
not an
people?
abortion anymore. That's murder.
How many people
Yeah, but
grow up
what
and
are
have
they doing?
strokes and wind up on life support?
Yeah,
Something
exactly.
requiring assistance in that capacity shouldn't be the determinant factor.
Absolutely.
You know what I
So
mean?
Right.
Like,
then
we don't
the
just
big
run
thing
around to
is
people and
then
start pulling a plug out of the wall because they need life support. You know what I mean?
you
Like,
got to start looking at what they're doing
I don't understand
afterwards. So
these.
they're not just disposing of those, you know, fetuses, embryos, whatever you want to call them. They're selling them,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, and my
you
thing
know.
is like, here's my thing. Everybody's like, oh well, you know, it shouldn't be. Da, 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 da. Look, I don't care what the Judeo-Christian viewpoint is. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the morality of me dictating to you your personal choice. I don't care. And that's why I keep saying, like, there needs to be some common sense approach to some of this shit, because we've gotten to the point where everything is so polarizing. Like, for me personally, you want to have an abortion a week after you fucking had sex, take the morning after pill. You know what I mean? Like, but some people will be like, well, the moment you have conception, it's a life. You know what I mean? Okay, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not debating all that shit. I'm not getting into that part of it. What I'm saying is when there's a viable formed being that you have to tear apart to remove, I take issue with that as a viable means of birth control. If we
Right.
can't
And
have
most
a
people,
rational discussion about that without resorting to name calling and all that, then how are we ever going to come to common ground on these things? You know what I mean?
well, the
Like,
thing is, no, literally 78% of the people, and I mean, almost every poll comes to about 78% of the population out there, no matter where it's at, no matter what the religion, no matter what the culture, no matter what, agrees with your viewpoint, John. You know, like that, hey, once you have a formed being, that's the line. Like you can't cross that. That's like irrefutable to 78%. And I think that's enough to say, okay, well, I think then you could probably pass a law and fuck those other 12%. Like that's not enough to talk about, well, I thought this was a representative republic or all that. No, 12% isn't enough to say, well, we're going to allow up to 9-month abortion. No, fuck that. No, that's bullshit.
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I take issue with that. I don't know why everything in this nation has to be so polarizing. And I think that's one of the things that I heard Kennedy say recently that I thought was absolutely fabulous. And I'm
Yeah.
not a Democrat by any means, but I heard him speak the other day, and as some of the stuff that he said, we've got to get away from this.
Mhm.
There's everything so we've created villains throughout
Yeah.
the world. You know, it's
Oh, yeah.
us against the bad Russians, or it's Ukraine against the bad Russians, or we're against the evil Afghanis, or we're against the evil Taliban, and we're against the evil Iranians. We're always reflecting ourselves as the good guys, this righteous, you know, a cause that's held up higher than anything else. And you know, we discussed this a couple of while back when we were having an episode about how we all felt let down, you know, because we appeared behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You know, and those everything they said was a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We went out and did that dirty work for what, you know? And so that was one of the things, you know, people who don't know, like, yeah, America, you know, rah rah rah. And you know, I go back to that old saying, one man's hero is another man's villain, you know?
True.
Are you the good guy or the bad guy? It really depends on what side you're standing on, because, you know,
there is objective evil and objective good.
I agree.
There is.
What I was going to say was, as backwards as I think Islam is, and as ignorant as I think Islam is, and I shouldn't say Islam per se, but I'm trying to find the right way to say this, because I don't genuinely feel as though every one of them are bad people. You know what I mean? I don't.
Well, you're intermixing Islam with Muslims, and the
yeah,
thing
but what I was going
Islam
to say
is the
was, as
opposite.
backwards as I think those people are, I still don't I still don't see, they're not doing what they're doing. They're not holding up that belief system because it's evil. You know what I mean? In their eyes, they're the heroes. They're the ones that are doing the righteous, just cause for God, and we're the evil, tyrannical beings. You know what I mean?
And some of that, though, that's them. If people followed the letter of the Bible, we would come across as extremely extremist for some of the things that you're supposed to, kill people for and all of that shit, and that they're supposed to be, banished.
Well, you're talking Old Testament, or are you talking about New Testament?
That's the thing about modern era Christians. They don't necessarily go by the Old Testament unless they want to pick and choose, and then they do.
Well, correct. And then I think that's where, when you're saying it's not all of Islam, it's the people that choose to follow certain things that aren't necessarily practiced by all any longer.
Well, no, what I mean is, I'm not talking about their individual ideology per se. I'm just talking about the fact that their viewpoints are opposite of ours. And when we're in America, we're over here fighting this holy war against these bad guys, these bad Muslims, these bad Islamist extremists. They're everybody's this evil Al-Qaeda, evil this, but they're looking back at us. They're fighting God's war against the evil, oppressive American. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
So that only worked to a certain extent, because even the triangle of death, they started to realize in there that they were being lied to by Al-Qaeda when Al Qaeda started to turn on them for not volunteering for a lot of shit, and that's when we turned the tide on that.
But I'm just saying, like, to them they're justified. To us, we're justified. And
sure,
I mean, there is that. Our nation has become is that everything is a polar opposite. That's what I'm trying to say.
It starts off like that.
Little shit.
No,
everything's polar opposite. You know what I mean? The Democrats, most of them are just like us. They're not the ones out there with the pussy hats,
right? Essentially, the early stages of war. What you're talking about are the early stages of every war, whether it's a war of ideology, a war of kinetic conflict. It doesn't matter. In the early stages, the ideology is that you're right or I'm right and you're wrong, and so therefore I'm good and you're evil, basically. And that's why the leftists adopted the whole idea of, if you don't align with me, then you're a Nazi. It's like,
sure. Well, and you're seeing it from both sides too. You're seeing these right wings that are, if you're a Democrat, you're automatically bad. It means you want this, and you're a socialist. And it's like, well, talk to them first.
Well, and that's what I meant.
You do see some of that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Less of that. I'm not a Democrat, but some of the things that he says have value. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Just like there's
not enough people that are sitting around unbiased.
I'm not just so obtuse that I'm unwilling to listen to a rational discussion. You know what I mean?
What I will say is that the modern leftist was created probably as a late term response to the 80s era of right-wing ideology. Remember the 80s? And
it was a big pushback
like
against
the Tipper Gore type shit,
type shit,
or like the like Metallica's evil, play Ozzy Osbourne backwards, and it's the devil's message type shit. It's like
it was definitely a big conservative Bible thumping era.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is, like, what we're seeing of this left-wing push, I think, is a very drawn out response to that. But it kept just going and and I think some of that is because of the professional activists, the activists that said, oh wait, we got what we wanted, we got gay marriage. Well, we can't stop. We got to keep going.
Yeah, well,
I think that's part of it. But I think there's an element too of, like, look at the 1950s. Everything was buttoned down. Everything was very conservative. Everybody was out to get the Russians, and everything was just completely different. And then once we started getting into that, where women didn't work, they stayed at home and they raised kids, and we had a very nuclear family, and it was really, really a lot more, pressed guys. I mean, men didn't even walk around in t-shirts back in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody, you dress.
Unless you were a 1%er.
And then so that that sort of stifled viewpoint spawned sort of a rebellion in the 60s, if you will. You know what I mean? And there was that revolution. And then that transcended into something else. And then it morphed into the 80s where, you know, you got what you're talking about, the Buchanans and everybody trying to browbeat people. You know what I mean? And then you move into the 90s and it's sort of going back to that push away from everything. And now we're doing grunge and now we're starting to, you know, non-conforming.
Well, and then
and now we got into the 2000s and now we're in everybody's fucking feelings and all this other shit. So yeah, everything's just a natural curve, man.
And think about it, from the 80s to the 90s, just on your basic cable, channels like tripled in that time. There was, you know, all these different things, MTV and all of that were coming out, that were sucking people in. Then the internet came around. So, you know, information transfer became so quick. So then it wasn't just seeing your own local news and, you know, the national news at 6. You know, people are getting that from across the country almost instantaneous. And then
and to your
found
point,
that with the internet, they had a voice. I mean, much like what we're doing right here.
Well, no, and even to your point, Booger, like it's kind of funny. I don't know how aware you were this at the time it was happening, because I think you were still probably either in high school or junior high.
Yeah, I graduated in 97. So
okay, so yeah, so I remember in 1991, I was going through core school, watching Desert Storm on CNN 24/7.
Yeah,
you know, and so, you know, the age of the 24-hour news cycle had dawned upon us. You know, you literally had
CNN was the first one.
Yeah, you had CNN on the beach watching seals come up on the shore, and it's like, I'm sure it was staged. I'm sure it had to be intentional, because there's no fucking way that they somehow got the seals insertion point, you know, but it was just, but at the same token, it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, are we seriously watching this? Like,
maybe somebody left some tanning lotion and some hair dye down on the fucking beach. They were just coming after it, you know?
Right.
Oh man, too funny.
They looked cool.
No, you're right.
I remember that because I think,
you know, that whole
we had the TV in the classroom watching all of that shit.
Yeah, the whole fucking 24-hour news thing kicked it off, man. And then when the internet came out and everybody started becoming connected, you know, that's what I said the last time. You had to be, you know, somebody get eaten by an alligator in Florida, I might go my whole life without hearing about it. Now, within 15 seconds, that motherfucker's all over the internet. You know what I mean?
And I mean, almost it's just like fucking Anchorman, you know, where they're like, they figured out that, oh shit, we've got to fill 24 hours of news. So it started just getting all these ridiculous stories. And then, you know, boom, here we go.
Well, it goes back to, like,
you know, they're making money.
It goes back like Chris Rock said back in the day, you know. He said, the problem with America is we got too much food. He said, now we've got so much food that we're getting allergic to food. Take Rwanda. Go to Rwanda. See if you can find anybody with a motherfucking lactose intolerance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
They just happy to get some fucking food. And I think that's another thing that Western culture has done, is that we've had so much excess. You know what we used to call it, first world problems. You know what I mean? I can't remember the times I've sat and listened to somebody. You know, when I took that job as a counselor, that was one of the fucking things I had a problem with. Is like, I'm sitting here listening to your bad days because you didn't get coffee on the way to work and your boss said something ugly to you, and that's your whole fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, that's your whole fucking problem. That's first world problems, man.
Yeah. Right.
And so I think with all that free time and boredom, they start creating fucking dilemmas and creating fucking problems. I'm bored. Well,
everybody needs a friction.
Listen to me. I'm not getting enough attention, so let me paint my fucking hair purple and you know, and show my titties and start standing up and screaming about how no one respects me or won't give me a job because I got tattoos all over my fucking face.
See, like, the whole victim mentality became a mainstream thing, you know, with the whole, you know, everybody, you know, is disenfranchised and all of this. And that's the way you end up getting all these likes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. I just literally watched a breakdown video of this guy getting arrested in Florida.
Breakdancing video?
break down, but oh geez, yeah. You know what? You're so good at that, Looney. You just like the little gopher in fucking yeah, fuck you. Just like the little gopher in Caddyshack. Get your little dance on. Get your little dance on. All right, fuck you. You got me, motherfucker.
I ain't gonna be
This
my one
cocksucker.
more motherfucker now. You just watched
anyway,
the breakdown.
so this guy, he's like TikTok famous or whatever, right? He's got like maybe 1.5 million followers or some shit. But he basically, he looks like a ripoff of what's that? The Tiger King. He looks like a ripoff of Tiger King. No shit.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
He looks like a ripoff of him. Sounds gayer than Joe Exotic, if you can imagine that. And drives a pink Mercedes SUV. Fucking cuts off some dude in the parking lot. Almost hits some fucking chick, pushing a stroller with her little kid in it. Then, when the guy gets confronted by, the guy gets off, he pulls out a fucking gun, and then he fucking hits the motherfucker with his gun. And so the police go to arrest his ass, and he's like, "You know who I am?" And "Oh, I know my rights." And he's like the worst kind of shithouse lawyer, like during the whole process. And it's just like, it is hilarious. But oh my God, the sense of entitlement, the sense of arrogance, the sense of just disconnect from actual reality. And
was he the one filming himself the whole time?
No. He didn't get to film any of it. Like,
it was just a bystander caught it all.
Oh yeah,
that's like those fucking free citizens. Every time I watch one of those videos of those motherfuckers getting pulled out of a car and beaten to death, I laugh my ass off. I'm a free citizen. I don't have to show you anything. I don't need ID. It's like, all right, come on. I'm a free citizen. God damn.
I mean, look, there are certain things where I'm like, definitely exercise the rights that you can. But at the same time, if you fuck up, I don't know, maybe you don't push the envelope. Maybe you just go, a little compliance will go a long way when you
don't overplay your fucking hand.
Exactly.
Well, it's like some of these, you ever watch like some of these like First Amendment auditors that go out, like some of them are just looking for a fight.
Oh yeah, there's so many of those cats I've seen. They're going out and filming goddamn post offices just to elicit a response.
And then they
fucking set. It's just like a trap. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're totally baiting these fuckers in, and it's like, that is not a First Amendment audit. You're going in there to pick a fight. Of course, you're going to get a response.
Yeah. I wonder how many times they don't put a video up because somebody was like, "Hey, I'm going to film." They're like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, never put those up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we know that there are bad examples of law enforcement out there, just like there's bad examples of military. There was bad examples of contractors. I mean, there's bad examples of everything, just like that. You're not
bad examples of McDonald's workers.
You're a bad example of a guy to go drinking with, John. That's what you're a bad example of.
Me too.
Unless you want to pick a fight.
Well, yeah. I mean, you
never
know
guy, what's going to happen with me.
The funny thing is, I remember when I'd go drinking with my Marines, I remember there was two reasons to go drinking with the Marines. You either wanted to fuck or fight. Not necessarily fuck the Marine.
Yeah, me and you ain't fucking.
Yeah. And so I'm like, with John, there's only one reason to go drinking with John. You want to fight.
Go fighting.
And you might want to fight John if you're going to go drinking with John.
Well, you just gotta don't poke the fucking bear,
Yeah.
You know what pissed me off the most about that last time when we were there was I had done that whole tattoo thing. We talked about it. We'd set it up. It was all agreed to and understood. And it came down to time to him to pay me. And we went by Spinny's and got some money at ATM. And he'd been putting me off. And he's like, all right, he paid me. But then the whole night, he's just sitting there just running his fucking mouth about it. And so we got to Gandamak, and I paid the whole fucking tab. It's almost $500 for all of us. I just paid the whole tab. Now nobody can say shit. We get going down the road, man. He just keeps on, just keeps fucking on. And no matter how many times I said, shut the fuck up, he just keeps on. And so finally, I just grabbed him by the head and just beat the fucking shit out of him. But I mean, it had been hours of me saying, stop, that's enough. Don't do it no more. You know what I mean? It'd been hours of me listening to that fucking bullshit and saying, stop. God damn it. Don't go to the fucking zoo and crawl up in the cage with a fucking lion and start hitting him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
If you fucking know me, when I say that's enough, God damn it, I mean that's enough. You know what I mean?
The funny
I'm
thing
just
was,
amazed. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I was gonna talk about this particular guy. Funny thing about that guy is that I thought he was a nice enough guy when I first met him. I befriended him. We talked. Even showed him some workout stuff. Helped him out a little bit. And what really turned me on him was they went. Him and Kane got assigned over to Hellman MRAP team, and then they had to come back because we had too many guys out on vacation, and so Andy pulled him and John came back, but that was right when we went to Kandahar. So they had to get stuck at Lindsay because the setup at Kandahar was very problematic logistically, between the meal cards you needed to have to even eat anywhere on CAF, the living quarters that they would have had to stay in, the access to the internet, everything just would have been problematic. So it would have been easier for them to just stay at the old quarters over at Lindsay, where nobody else would have been using the internet but those two that was still dedicated to global. Okay. They had access to the gym. They had access to the chow hall without having to need any of the logistics over there at Lindsay. But the problem was, after we got done with mission, they were there by themselves. We were over at CAF. And so after a couple days, we go on a mission and he is hitting the brakes on that MRAP like hard. And you wouldn't think a fucking, what is that thing, like, a 6-ton vehicle or something with all the armor on it? You wouldn't think a 6-ton vehicle can stop on a dime, but those motherfuckers have some great brakes on.
Yeah.
Was he just brake checking you guys to be a dick?
He was. He was hitting the brakes like super hard. And we're in the client vehicle. I am TCing him, and we're in the client vehicle. So we're in the middle of this pack, and there's no reason for him to be checking the brakes the way he is. There's no one following us except our own team. There's no one in front of us except our own team. So he's hitting the brakes so fucking hard. I'm like, what the fuck? And I see the clients are like getting jammed around. And I look over and I'm like, after the second one, I said, hey, is everything okay over there? He's like, oh yeah, everything's fine. I'm like, okay. Third time, fucking hits hard. I'm like, hey dude, what the fuck is going on with you? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, that's the third time you've hit those fucking brakes a little too hard. Like, this is not normally you, because he was actually a good driver. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he does it again. I said, dude, you fucking brake check that hard one more time, and I'm going to throw you in the back of the last vehicle, and I'm going to drive this motherfucker home myself. And so we get back and get done with the mission. And, and at that point, we got done cleaning the weapons, and everybody's getting ready to go chow. And I said, hey, stay behind. You and I need to talk. Mm-hmm. So everybody else goes to chow. I close the fucking door, and I'm like, all right, you need to spill the beans. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because that brake checking shit, like, you can lie to yourself all you want, but you ain't lying to me. I know what you were doing. So what the fuck is your problem? And he's like, well, and he's bitching about how him and Kane are all by themselves over there. We're over there at CAF and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, and I explained to him like why it was set up like that. And I'm like, you should know this. Like, I thought Andy broke it down to him. And he's like, well, it's just, you guys are all over there. I'm like, well, we still don't exactly hang out after lunch. It's not like we necessarily even go have dinner all together. Like, only a couple of us will here and there, but I don't see what your problem is. And he's like, well, it's just, and he keeps going. I said, look, dude, You guys chose to go to Hellman and you're helping us out. It's temporary. Okay. You're going to be going back to your team like before the week is out. I said, are you going to be able to handle this or do I need to send you back now? And he's like, well, it just would be nice. And I finally, after he just kept kind of pussyfooting around and being I just finally said, I said, dude, I've had enough. You're acting like a bitch. You're acting like a complete bitch. And I mean a bitch. And that's actually an insult to women right now, that you're acting like a bitch. And he's just like, what? I said, I expect better of a SEAL. You're a fucking former SEAL, for fuck's sake. And you're acting like this? Seriously? I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You are like the worst kind of millennial right now. Get your fucking big pants on.
My friends and do hood rat shit.
Yeah, I'm like, get your big boy pants on and start acting like a fucking man. Because otherwise, I'm going to recommend that you fucking get out of contracting, dude. Because seriously, it only gets worse from here. But that's when I was done with his ass. I'm like, I've got nothing for you, dude. Like, don't call me for any more jobs. Don't fucking ask to be on my team. I'm not handling some guy who's throwing a temper tantrum on mission
with the clients.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
punk.
Yeah,
like that's one thing if you're in the fucking follow or something and you're just jostling your guys around in the back having a temper tantrum with fucking clients.
Yeah, because then we could actually talk about it on the ride home. But I'm like, I got clients on the headsets and everything. I'm like, well, I can't exactly talk about it here. But yeah, that was the kind of person he was, you know. And so that's why I'm like, I could see like John probably gave him every out he possibly could. And that's saying something because John normally does not have a long fuse on that temper. So the fact that John...
Well, and if that's that guy's personality in general, that's going to make that fuse even shorter.
I'm telling you,
know, because you're already fed up with
amounts of alcohol that night, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah, surprise!
Yeah, right.
If that's their way normally, you're already probably just pissed off at them in general.
That's the one where Brian Brown got got fired from the contract for he thought it was him that did it. I told you.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I fucking know it was you. And I was like, dude, that was me. I was like, don't fucking do it again. That's like that night Kevin Dragnet told me. He's like, next morning, he's like, dude, I thought I had your ass last night. Me doing what? He said, I came by that fucking bar on the compound there at Gandermack 2. So I came by the bar and I heard everybody in there raising hell. And I fucking knew it was you in there. He said, I opened up that door to come in there. I was fixing to get your ass. And he said he opened up the door and here's all these fucking Brits, butt ass naked, standing there in a circle trying to see how many fucking rounds they could hold with their dick and their foreskin.
Yep, that sounds like Brits.
Yeah. He thought he was coming in there to get me for being on like raising hell and tearing the place up. And go in there and it's fucking 10 Brits standing around with their cocks out.
Don't you wish you could have been there to see his face?
Didn't say a word.
And you know, the funny thing is you think about all this shit, like we're talking about some of the most sophomoric, like crazy shit that we do downrange, right? And then you have the temerity of these fucking politicians looking down their nose at us, like we're knuckle dragging heathens that are dumb, and that's why we do the work we do. And then they're on the fucking House floor chanting like fucking teenagers because their boy Adam Schiff gets censured, rightfully so, for lying to the American public about something obviously, you know, it was evil what he did, like misleading and wasting millions and millions of taxpayer dollars for a known fallacy. And so they're all chanting like it's this big surprise that he's going to get censored. I'm like, you motherfuckers, you had this coming. He had it coming.
But again, you're the same shit. It's us and them. It's right and left, black and white.
But you look down your nose at us. But if we have a problem, if we had an Adam Schiff, we take care of that problem. We take care of
him up.
The cab ride home is going to get your ass beat. The talking to and the talk is going to be, dude, maybe you're not long for this fucking, type of work. Get the fuck out.
Some old
That's what
whiskey
happened.
locker shit.
Exactly. We take care of that shit. We don't let that shit ride.
Yeah.
Well,
Except for-
Let's go.
Counseling. Wall-to-wall counseling does a hell of a lot better than paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like handle it at the lowest level first. Because once you squash that shit, it's so much easier to handle. Yeah.
Fucking politicians, man.
Yeah.
Need to drag a few of them out and hang them in the fucking street. Make an example out of them.
Honestly, we do need to bring back a few, like, trying them like Benedict Arnold type shit, because they'll stop pulling this shit once they realize, the American people are calling for blood. Maybe we better start acting like what we got elected for. I don't know.
I don't know either. My thing is like,
Did we lose Booger? Oh,
my thing is like, I don't see how.
you're muted, Boog.
Yeah,
There
no, I'm
you
having
go.
quick coming through my ears real quick. I'm trying to get it so that way it's not echoing on you guys. Hold on. You guys keep talking. I can hear you.
It's not it.
Okay. No, it's not.
By the way, you're losing the beard growing competition that we started. Yeah. You can't hear you.
Yeah, you muted yourself again. Technical difficulties, audience. Booger
If
is.
you're gay, don't say anything. Maybe quiet.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you guys aren't getting like this coming back, but I don't
Still
know.
can't hear you, Booger. You're still muted.
No, I'm not.
Are you still talking? We can't hear you.
Oh, fuck you.
I was trying all this straight.
I was wondering how long it was going to go, man. I was fucking. I had that hook in. He was nibbling at it.
You could see his face was like.
I couldn't get it set. Fucking Dale squealed on me. You are the worst goddamn wingman I've ever had.
I'm telling you, look, I do not have a poker face. I'm sorry, I know that.
Dale's like,
You
you hear it, Dale? No.
I know. Like, let me just. No, yeah, I can't hear him.
Not me.
That's gonna be Booger saying from now on. He's just gonna look at my face like, okay. Dale will tell me what.
Now he's fucking frozen, or he's fucking with us one. Are you fucking with us?
What?
Yeah, he was frozen.
Yeah.
I thought you were
actually.
fucking with us. You went.
I know,
No.
right?
It's opened up, so something popped up on the screen and froze me.
Maybe you got to get off those porn sites. Gay porn's a bad habit to kick, Bugs.
Yeah, well, I didn't sign up willingly. Y'all did it.
Are you saying you're a follower? You're just following our lead now? Like,
It's my
trying to
only
be cool?
phone up.
Oh shit.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know, man. The whole politician thing just kills me. It's the level of corruption, the level of just blatant, dishonest corruption. I don't know how anybody, right, left, any of them, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think any of them are working for us. None of them. The ones that you agree with are just selling you a fucking product. They don't give a shit about nobody out here. They all need to be taught a fucking lesson.
Well, that's
I'm
why
not going to go buy a goddamn cabin and start writing a manifesto or anything, but I'm just saying, like, if it was up to me in a dark room with no windows, Adam Schiff would be a changed man tomorrow morning.
Right.
I think if we could just get a actual strong, viable libertarian, I mean, it's going to have to start, from the ground up. But
I was going to say just that it's got to be local politics first, so they show a record, a body of work of how their policies actually affect people.
Yeah, I mean, a viable third party would solve a lot of this shit, because then it wouldn't be polarization.
Yeah, but they're not going to let that happen. They're going to do everything they can, just like with Trump, man. Doesn't matter if you agree with Trump. or disagree with Trump. The very fact of the matter is that people should have a viable chance to make up their own fucking mind. And
Yeah.
if he loses based on the merits, then he fucking loses. End of story. But this whole goddamn mess that's going on, I just watched a video. I think maybe I sent it to a buddy of mine. I don't know if I sent it to you guys, but it was a excerpt from a little documentary thing where they talked about this runoff in Georgia. Georgia was using Dominion voting machines, and it was a town of maybe 15,000 people voting, something like that. I don't remember the number, but it was a significant amount.
Right.
And there was three people running, and so two of them wound up having to do a runoff because neither one of them had 50% of the votes. But the one that did not get into the runoff filed a lawsuit and made them do a hand count. And when they did a hand count, the Dominion voting machines had miscounted her votes by over 3,000. So like 30-something% of the votes. Yeah. She wound up winning the fucking election or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, because, so, I mean, my whole point is there is corruption.
Oh, 100%.
1,000%.
Did Trump lose the election based on corruption? I don't know. But the evidence
Well, yeah.
to me is overwhelming that there was interference. And that in and of itself, regardless of what side of the coin you're on, the end does not justify the means. It can never justify the means, because when the shoe's on the other foot, then what are you going to do?
Well, even in their own party right now, they're not even going to run a Democratic primary. They've already
They'll
decided.
have to. They'll have to. They'll have
They
to.
don't have to. No, because it's up to the
They're going to
DNC.
get pressured, man. Nobody wants Biden in there.
Well, they're already starting to see the pressure because even the press is now turning on Biden. And
Yeah,
that was
they're
one of the other
going to
things.
deal with Biden before the election. It's already starting to morph.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But my whole
'Cause,
point
I mean-
is that it should be based on the people. You know what I mean? And
Can you imagine if any one of
burned to
us
the fucking ground, bro.
had evaded taxes and had a gun charge, like hanging out there? We'd be rotting in prison for the next 15, 20 years.
Easy.
Yeah, and that's not even counting all the shit he did, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
They still won't answer the questions about the text messages that they got.
Ironic.
no.
Not with the shirt you're wearing.
Do what?
What's that? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking, fucking.
That
Dude.
just goes. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it was Biden who pushed their
Dude.
issue. That fucking piece of shit. You know what? I mean, I try not to say things like "not my president," but in this case, definitely not my president. I mean, I don't give a shit that he's called the president of the United States. I refer to him as the former vice president.
I'll respect the position, but I don't have to respect the man.
It goes beyond that, though. He's disrespected the position.
Agreed. I agree with that.
I think when the value of the position has been diminished to the level that it has, then I'm not going to respect the position either.
Yeah.
Because if you can buy it, then it's not valuable. If you can purchase it, if it can be sold to the highest bidder, if it can be stolen, cheated,
Corrupted. Yep.
manipulated, and corrupted in any way, shape, or form, then it no longer has the inherent value that it should have, and I don't respect it.
I guess I'm respecting the memory of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but that's how I look at it. Like, it's just like when we were in overseas, you know what I mean? And people would be like trying to give us commands, and it's like, I'll respect you if you're not a dick, but if you want to be a dick, then we're going to have a whole different conversation because I'm not enlisted.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
just like when, I don't know how many fucking hell that conversation we had the other day about that fucking little punk that tried to give us a speeding ticket. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
he came at that a different way, it would have been a completely different scenario.
Oh yeah.
That's what a lot of these authoritarian types don't get is like, there's your position and what you're trying to push down as a result of your position. And then there's the notion of keeping order. Like a lot of people can understand that there's the game of life and keeping order. There's the social doctrine that we all sign up for. because signing up for it means there's a certain advancement that all parties benefit from. But when you have these authoritarian types that are just trying to make themselves feel better by feeling somehow powerful, you just look at them and you're like, you do realize that you're not powerful at all. Like it doesn't take much for you to lose that power that you have.
Yeah. That's
You
why I
know.
see a dark room with no windows.
Oh yeah,
You know, I don't care how important you think you are.
yeah,
You get in that room with no windows.
yeah. And it
There's no
doesn't matter if
money.
it's a
There's no
badge.
money that's
It
going to
doesn't matter
bail
if-
you out of that. There's nobody
Yeah.
coming to save you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a badge. Doesn't matter if you're a TikToker with 1.5 million followers. It doesn't matter if you're a politician.
No.
It doesn't matter. That power is fleeting.
Yeah.
And you piss off the wrong people. Like I said, I only need about 500 of my boys, and shit can turn the
That's what I
tide
told someone,
of an entire
that's what I told
country.
someone the other day. They were talking about, defund the police, defund the police. What are we going to do if they do defund the police? I don't know what the fuck you're going to do, but I'm going to be a fucking warlord.
Beg for them to
Okay.
release.
Well,
That's
no.
exactly what I told him. I said, I will bring 150 of my guys to this town, and we
Tell you
will
what.
take over half the state.
What's really
And then you'll
dangerous
pay
about that
us
whole
for protection.
ideology that people are that the uninitiated are not aware of is that whole defund the police is a segue to federalized police, and that's fucking dangerous.
That's scary.
Yeah, but I'm just
That's-
saying, like, without law and order, like y'all think it's bad now.
Well, there won't be a
That's
lack
because
of law
you've
and
never
order.
seen what bad really is. You know what I mean? We've been to places where there wasn't really any order. There wasn't really any law. You know what I mean? We've been to those places, and
Yeah.
they're totally different. You know what I mean? And it is survival of the fucking fittest.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're not going to stand up in fucking Russia and start talking about how horrible the goddamn government is.
Yeah.
You're not going to stand up in Iran, and you're not going to go to downtown Tehran and hold up a fucking sign saying "fuck the government."
standing up in Russia.
Huh?
That leader of the Wagner Group is standing up in Russia. He's got
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like, people that you think it's bad in America.
Right.
If you were anywhere else in the world, you'd be took out and shot in the fucking head for saying that shit.
You know why they think it's bad in America is because
They don't know what
had
bad
no
is.
friction. Exactly. They've had no friction. And it's like that idiot who's in the military that's like, oh, I want to go to war so I can get my kill on. It's like, you're a dumbass. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that you signed up to go to war. I get that you signed up for, and I don't have a problem with that. But if you think that you're somehow going to become a man because you went out and killed something or someone, no, that's not how it works. You're either already a man or you're an empty fucking shell of something that sort of looks like a man, but is actually a psycho or sociopath.
Yeah.
In the end.
Well, and I said that 1,000 times before, whether I'm teaching weapons or whether I'm teaching hand to hand, whatever. But I've said before, I can teach you how to throw a punch. I can teach you how to throw a kick. I can teach you how to shoot a weapon. Can't make you a killer, and I can't make you a fighter. You're either a fighter or you ain't. I can
Right.
teach you how to throw a punch. I can make you very proficient, but you're not going to have that instinct. You either got it or you don't. You know what I mean? And that's just the difference. Mike
Nobody-
Tyson fucking
Okay.
had him. You know what I
You
mean?
know,
Oh god,
Young
yeah.
Mike Tyson was a fucking killer.
Oof, yeah, he
You
was.
can't teach that.
I was scared to death of my first contacts. I didn't know how. I mean, I knew how I'd trained and all that, but I didn't know how I'd react. And luckily, I reacted properly. But I was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit!" Pops off, and I fucking freeze.
Well, and I've told people that before. They're like, "Are you scared?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you're scared." Like I've got
Yeah.
pictures with my windows and the vehicles all shot to shit. Especially with that mail contract and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how fucking cool you think you are. When rounds start dinging, you're gonna pee a little bit. You know
It's-
what I mean? You're gonna
Yeah.
let a little pee out, just a little.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta have a little bit of a
settle
brown
in,
crayon
you
sticking
just
out.
work, you know what I mean? And then you're not even thinking anymore. You're just doing what you're taught. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
just working.
That
And then
muscle
when
Right.
it's over with, you sit around and you're like, holy fucking shit. You know what I mean? And that's when you start coming down, and that's when you start.
that
But yeah,
adrenaline comes
yeah.
once that
You don't even
hurts.
remember half of what fucking happened. You're just doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sitting there
Who
writing
was that?
names. Go
Who was
on.
that? Who was that fucking dipshit? He came in Kandahar. His aunt was somebody in a company, blah, blah, blah. We took him out to the
Oh,
range and he got
that-
that squib.
wasn't he a
whatever
ranger?
It was, huh?
Logan.
Wasn't he a ranger?
I don't
His
remember.
name-
Remember, he got a ricochet,
Yeah, yeah,
hit him in the
Uh,
fucking arm, and he looked down, and he saw blood, and he just went and got the
yeah.
fuck out.
I think he claimed to be a ranger, and didn't he shoot like a what? Yeah, he shot like a tire, like not the tire.
It was the
itself, but
MRAP wheel. It was the wheel of the
Yeah,
MRAP.
that's-
Yeah, that
that's-
concave MRAP
it-
wheel.
Yeah, and as soon as he saw the blood, it was just like, boom.
Yeah, he fucking went straight down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was his name Logan?
I don't know what the fuck his name was, to be honest with you. I mean, I think
Honestly,
I
it was
talked to him
something like
twice.
that.
I think I talked to him twice. I don't know who the fuck he was, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't
No.
be surprised if that was his name.
Hey, you remember that
like
black dude that we had? His name was Andre Blackman.
Yes, yes.
His name was Blackman.
Yeah,
and
no,
he
it was
shows
like
up.
Jamaican.
And he's got fucking foot lockers with Blackman wrote on it. And he's black. And so I walk up and I'm like, who the fuck did this? This black man. I'm like, we're better than this, you motherfuckers. And I'm just doing just and he's like, no, dude, it's my name. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I know it's your name. Stupid ass.
Let's go.
But he had black man on his fucking foot locker. I'm like, God damn it, it's
He was smart.
2023 or whatever the fuck it was. You know?
Yeah.
We're better than this, people.
He was a small little dude that was one of the medics, wasn't he?
I don't remember, man. I just remember that fucking conversation because he thought I was being serious. And he's like trying to calm me down. He's like, no, man, that's actually my name. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's your fucking name. I know nobody goddamn
Well,
sends a black man
especially-
on your fucking locker.
Especially since wasn't it MON, like Black Mom?
I don't even
or
remember
something?
now, but it was something like that. It was just fucking, I was trying to, it was funny as shit. Everybody laughed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hilarious. fucking loony, man.
Yeah. Surprised I didn't get fired for some of the
Although-
shit I said.
Although honestly, I don't think you were there for this one, but Ed was running the MRAP team at the time, and I was one of the medics. And we were finishing up. Remember that one site that was halfway down to the Pakistan border where they were doing the police
The one
training
where we-
center?
Was that the one where we wound up being in Pakistan that time and we didn't know it?
No. That was the actual, what was it? Spin Bulldog?
Yeah. When
Uh,
we got back and we realized we were actually in Pakistan by mistake.
Yeah. That was with Kriebel. That was when we were there with the Kriebels, which, by the way, I want to dedicate this episode to Kriebels. His son is in dire straits in the hospital, and so if you guys get a chance to reach out, if you know Mitch, reach out and pray for him and his son. But back to the conversation though. So we were at that one that was, I can't remember. It was like Takaray or something like that. It was like halfway down towards that same Spin Bulldog site where we'd go, and they were building a huge training center. They even had like an
Where we did
RPG
that
range.
dust off, wasn't it?
Yes, it was there.
Yep.
So we're there. Ed was running the team, and we had this. We had USACE clients that were meeting with the main guy who was running the site, and of course he had his Afghan managers that were helping him out. And of course, you know how these Afghans were. They always wanted pictures with the USACE clients because it made them feel important. Like, here I am with these USACE people, right? And so we always had this rule, like, okay, don't take pictures of the MRAPs, don't take pictures of the security people. We would try to set them up like, take your pictures with them over here kind of thing, right? So they're taking pictures. We're like, fuck. It's like 10 minutes of taking pictures, and we're trying to get the fuck out of there. So we finally get done and load up, and I get on the headset. I'm like, Jesus, you'd think they were like Asian tourists visiting Disneyland for the first time or something. And of course, one of the clients just happens to be an Asian American dude. But no, I mean, I'm not talking about him. You know, I mean, he's an Asian American. You know, he's not necessarily like them. So I say that, and Ed's like, "Hey, Dale, clients are on the headsets," and I'm like, "And?" He goes, "Well, one of them is Asian." I said, "He's Asian American. Get it right." And Ed's just like, "Oh shit, Dale's just gonna say what he's gonna say." I'm like, "I am what I am," but I at the same token, I was like, "Yeah, I really hope I don't get fired for this."
I had to have a talking with my limo driver. We were coming back from a move in Erbil, bringing him back from, oh fuck, I forget what that bar was. Anyhow, bringing them back over to our house, and we had little canes that were pretty tight. And in this one vehicle, like if you didn't hit them just right, you kind of had to do a little 3-point to get through them. And driver's going through there. He's like, "Ooh, I don't know, man. This one's a little bit tight. I hope I can get it." And I was like, "Don't ding the car." And the client in the back seat, who just happened to be a gay man, he goes, "Oh, you could fit a car through there." And my limo driver goes, "Oh, I bet you say that to all the boys." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that to the fucking car."
Do you know the dude was gay?
What's that?
Do you know the dude was gay?
Oh yeah, no, this guy was pretty flamboyant, but it was just like, come on, man. Like I know we have like the rapport with the clients, but that's crossing a line, man.
That was definitely
That's
like
the kind of shit I would do.
Oh yeah, well the client luckily laughed about it, but I put up that. Come on, man.
No, that's the kind of shit I would do. Like I would
That's
get in trouble
definitely
for that shit all the time.
Man, I'm not one point too many fingers. That same contract, I got drunk with one of the clients and tried to make a move on her. So yeah. Well, and then
never
flash
fuck the clients.
I have to go and interview in DC at their headquarters so that I can take the Sudan position. And who's the person that's in charge up there in DC that's doing my interview? It was her.
Oh no.
So yeah, she talked to me and she was like, "Are you gonna, you can't be drinking like you did when you were in Erbil?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I
don't
understand."
drink anymore. Yeah, I left that behind a long time ago. Yeah.
I didn't lie like that. Probably I was, but yeah, like no, ma'am, that will not be an issue. Yeah,
oh man.
yeah. When liquor was involved, it wasn't too good for me.
I think the worst run we ever had. At one point, when I was on that mail contract, we had theater wide, level 1 ISAP badges. So I could go into any fucking place, anywhere. I mean, it didn't fucking matter. I mean, but we were rolling through with a goddamn, like you were wearing a fucking necklace with like 8 different goddamn passes and badges, and we had flight line access to everywhere. I mean, we had just a goddamn, you know what I mean? But yeah, we used to do that same shit, dude. We go down to Camp Warehouse, and if you pulled up the warehouse, you could buy 2 cases of beer per person per day, and it was $1 a can. Where if you went out of town, it was $8-9 a can.
Yeah.
So we'd go down there with a couple of fucking SUVs. We'd take 12, 14 guys in there and we'd fucking buy them out. We'd be back tomorrow. We'd go right back to the fucking hooch, man. Everybody's walking in carrying 2 cases of fucking beer each. You know what I mean? Next morning, there wouldn't be a goddamn beer left in the whole place. I think the worst one we had was, I think Mike one time had somebody back here that borrowed some money from him, a couple $100. Might have been like $600 if memory serves. The guy hits him up and says, "Hey, I got your money back. What do you want me to do?" He said, "I want you to go to the liquor store. And I want you to buy every fucking bottle of liquor you can find that's in plastic and box it up and mail it to me." So that's what he did. He went and bought like $600 worth of fucking liquor in plastic goddamn half-gallon jugs. Canadian Mist and fucking Fighting Cock and just anything, you know what I mean? And so all of a sudden, all these goddamn boxes start showing up in Afghanistan just full of fucking liquor. I'm talking about fucking 30 goddamn bottles or fucking 40 bottles of liquor. You know what I mean? It's just nuts. And dude, we fucking stayed drunk. I mean, it was like kind of stupid drunk. You know what I mean?
Fucking Farva.
hammered for weeks on that shit. What?
Fucking Farva from Super Troopers.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Pull the car over.
never shit a shitter.
Yeah. I ended up
oh
when we
my
were
God.
trouble, I had to pretty much buy all of the beer for the team because they'd buy a case so that we could have a barbecue or a couple cases. They'd each have like one or two while we ate. I could go to bed, whatever. I'd stay up and drink it all. They'd come out the next night. They're like, "Where's all the beer?" And I'm like, "I drank it." So then I'd have to fucking buy the next two cases, and that just kept on going.
Well, you know why I didn't drink that much, John?
Because you were a pussy.
Well, kind of, in a way. No, back in '97, I had to have a Nissen for application because I had a.
I remember you have the surgery that had your testicles removed.
Right.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just keep twisting the fucking blade, dude. But yeah, I can barely burp. I have to have like an A&W mountain, an A&W root beer just to even burp. And vomiting, I can't vomit at all. Like I can go through the motions. As a matter of fact, I got sick one time because I took a shot of Winstrol, and it was when I was on the Admiral's detail in Canada or in Kabul with Dylan Forsyth, and I was his driver. We were trying to pick up the Admiral at the flight line, so we're waiting to roll onto the flight line. We're waiting for his private jet to land, and all of a sudden I get the Winnie flu just hits me hard, and I'm like, oh God. I said, don't freak out. And he's like, what? And I said, I'm going to get sick. He's like, well, don't throw up in here. I said, I can't throw up. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, just hang tight. And all of a sudden I'm just like, and I just start retching. He's watching me horrified for like a minute straight, just retching. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, had surgery, can't vomit. And I'm like, and now I'm in cold sweats and I'm pale and shit. But yeah, like I did that twice where I got so drunk I wished I could have thrown up. And
Intestinal system of a horse.
what's that?
You have the gastrointestinal system of a horse.
Oh, horses can't throw up?
No, that's why they die from colic.
Really?
Yeah, a horse can't throw up. That's
Look
why
at that, I learned something.
Yeah, that's why like if a horse is colicking, you'll put a tube up their nose and pump it full of fluid to try and force it out. But horses can't throw up.
Wow.
Sort of like a gastric lavage.
Yeah.
If you knew that fact, you could have segued that into, you got a horse cock or something, but you can't do that now because I told you the fact.
Right. Well, and I'm Scottish, so
I'd have thrown a penalty flag anyway.
Yeah, John's seen my cock.
It's not that impressive.
No.
And it took like 38 minutes for him to get off. So.
Well, I was trying to represent on the first date, John. And so I flogged the dolphin.
Sheep. I was like, why in the fuck am I still tugging on this thing?
I punched the clown earlier before the date, man, and I thought I was like doing you a solid.
Oh yeah, if you want to insult us, you're gonna have to do a little better fucking job.
Oh, I know, right?
You and your well-trimmed beard.
I know, right? Like that was a slight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I told him my shit bigger than him.
I wouldn't be surprised, man, considering how fucking big you are and the Taco Bell that you eat.
Yeah, we saw where he gets that from. Trailer.
So anyway, looks like Hunter Biden is finally going to pay his dues. He's going to have to write his name on a chalkboard 50 times and have to go outside and pick up trash for a whole afternoon on a Saturday. That'll fucking teach him.
I got two things to say about that. Is one, you motherfuckers better go vote this time. And I mean, do not fucking cheap out. You fucking got a chance to vote early, fucking vote early. And number two, if you vote for fucking any Democrat again, like Biden, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, go outside and choke yourself. It's not a penis, Dale. Put it down.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, you ain't.
I saw that once by a Marine and it was like a bad look.
I saw that same.
Do what? You cut out, bug.
I said I saw that same video.
Yeah. I usually fast forward through that part.
No, I literally watched a Marine at 29 stumps try to pick up the bartender by deep throating a beer bottle. And I was like, dude, who are you trying to fucking impress? The gay guy at the end of the bar or the her?
Yeah, you're showing off for the wrong team there, homie.
I know, right?
It doesn't even sound like a good idea.
Yeah, stick your tongue down to the beer barrel or beer bottle and fish out the last couple drops. That might have.
All right,
Shit, that would have impressed me.
I'm done with you fucking assholes.
Right
I take
on.
my dog out, and I don't even fucking like you people. So,
We tolerate you.
all right, you got
It
one
is
in the
what it
books.
is.
Leave me the fuck alone for a little while.
See y'all.